I'm Nicole Haines. I am the Senior Director of Cancer Services at Mercy. I have been at Mercy since 2001, and I've been in oncology since 2009. I don't think people always realize how hard it is to get through a cancer journey. About 51% of cancer patients are struggling. They incur medical debt, but 42% of them completely deplete their assets during their cancer journey. And about 60% of patients say they find it difficult to afford their bills. More than 80% say they've made a financial sacrifice during the course of their treatment. And sometimes when we have a debt, we're like, well, we all make financial sacrifices, right? We can't afford everything we want. Maybe I scale back on my internet, or maybe I scale back on my cell phone, or whatever. When we're talking about financial sacrifices for our patients, we're talking about things like, am I going to buy groceries, or am I going to pay a copay? Am I going to buy a prescription, or am I going to put gas in the car? And if I choose the prescription, how am I going to get there to get it because I have no gas in the car? Am I going to cut my pills in half? Am I going to skip a refill this month? Am I going to do symptom control or not? Am I going to do a screening or not? Once I'm done with my treatment, that debt doesn't go away, and I still need long-term support, and I need long-term follow-up, and where does that come from? So it really makes a tremendous difference in a woman's journey to not have to make those choices, to not have to prioritize health and survival against putting food on the table for their family. I shouldn't have to have a woman come to treatment and say, you know what, I don't have any food at home. It's wonderful to be able to just say, the patient's hungry, they're going to leave here today with food, and to be able to set those things up because we have the financial support to do it. Well, and if your mother's sick and you're a kid, having mom sick is stressful enough. If financial situation is such that in order to pay mom's medical bills, you're losing things that are important to a kid, that's awful. So we really work to make that not a thing. Like, I don't want to see a mom say, I'm sorry, honey, you can't have this lesson, that lesson, whatever, because I have a copay. That's what we're there for. The National Cancer Institute reports that approximately the average spent in the first year after cancer diagnosis, the cost of care is $42,000 in that year. And Medicare patients, everybody thinks, oh, you have Medicare, you're covered. Well, that's not exactly true. Medicare covers 80%. So you have another 20%. 20% of $42,000 is a lot of money. And maybe you don't pay quite that much, but it's about 10% of Medicare patients are spending 60% of their monthly income on medical expenses. So even if you have Medicare, even if you have insurance, most insured people spend a minimum of $500 a month on cancer care. And that's if you have good insurance. What if you have lousy insurance, or you have an $8,000 deductible and you have to meet that every year? So the first year you're in cancer treatment and you're going to spend a minimum of $8,000 before you even get all the help that you need from your insurance. Then the next year you have surveillance and follow-up, and you're still going to have to spend that $8,000. Who can afford to spend $8,000 every single year on their health care? Once you have a cancer diagnosis, you're going to spend that every single year if that's your deductible. And you miss work, and if you haven't been in a job very long, you don't have the benefits, or maybe you have a lower paying job and you have no benefits. So then you have to decide, if I miss work for this treatment, I'm not going to get paid today. Or maybe I need to go on a medical leave and I don't have that full disability benefit through my employer. How am I going to do that? And that's where the funds have come in wonderfully, because we've paid for COBRA, we've paid for monthly insurance, so that people who are on a leave of absence don't lose their benefits. These funds can do that. There are a lot of funds out there that will maybe pay for copays, but it's so much more than copays. It's rent, it's prescriptions, it's supplies, it's utilities, it's gas for the car, it's fixing the car. On multiple occasions, we bought mattresses for women who were sleeping on the floor. Nobody should have to sleep on the floor and have cancer. So those are the wonderful things that we do. And we do them because we have donors who care.